all the scariness and crap that comes from toxic relationships. That's what we're gonna talk about today. There's a wonderful clip of Bob Newheart. You can Google or YouTube it. It's his form of therapy called Stop It. It's hilarious. Basically, person comes and says, here's my problem, and he goes, stop it. Well, you don't understand. Shares the same problem a different way. Okay, no, I get it. Stop it. It's so simple. It's hilarious when you see him, especially in his old comedic style. But there's a lesson to be learned from this. It's very interesting. Imagine literally the possibility of when that thought comes up, I can say, stop it. Well, today's thought that we're looking at is toxic relationships, and it's seeking external validation. Stop it. Mic drop, done, out. Seriously though, when I seek external validation, it means by default, I'm not able to have internal validation. And here's where it starts to get sticky. What are the odds of me finding something somewhere else outside of me that I don't possess or know what it looks like? If I didn't know what something looks like, it could literally be in front of me and I wouldn't know. The problem is we tend to go and try to force and hold and say, okay, validate me, validate me, validate me. And of course, it's not at the conscious level. I haven't dated anybody or met anybody that says, listen, validate me. I'm sure there's a few out there. However, when I'm aware of this, when I'm conscious of this, I can take a moment to step back. And remember, the saying I love is, the grace is in the space. I can create some space so I take a step back and say, wait a minute, why is their validation so important to me? And as we get to the core, as we ask, well, why is that important? Okay, well, why is that important? Okay, well, why is that important? We've done a few of these videos to get to the core. As we get lower and lower, we get to that part. It's one of the two primary fears. I'm either not good enough or I'm not lovable. Once I expose that, then I can look and say, okay, what are some tools? What do I want to hear from myself? What are beliefs that I want to literally start to identify, that I want to start to create and absorb so I can believe and love and be good enough for myself? And here's the kicker. Once I begin to practice this internally, it's amazing at how people externally will then begin to give you that validation. It's like, well, if you would have just given me that before, I wouldn't have needed to do this. It's like the chicken and the egg, right? Which came first? And then they're going, well, if you didn't need this, then I wouldn't have done this. And it's this cycle. So we break the cycle, we stop the cycle, and we look from within and say, what validation am I starved for? What validation am I looking for? And how can I be the producer of that internally? So that's today's challenge. That's the lesson. Physically write it down. It's a wonderful exercise. What validation am I starved for? Is it from mom or dad, brother, sister, husband, wife, son, daughter, friend? And as I start to do that, I can identify, gosh, here's what's important to me. Here's why it's important to me. Here's what I would love to hear. And then we begin telling ourselves that. We begin doing the work that we need. And then the irony is once I begin to master that, it's crazy. Literally, it's like I won't get into it, but it's like the law of manifestation, whether you agree or disagree. It's like we manifest it. People start to see it, and then they literally hold up a mirror and go, wow, I want to validate you for this. You're kind of like, gosh, that's awesome. I've been working on that. So that is today's challenge.